So, hey everyone, welcome to Authors Interview Session by Carolyn Penn Publishing. This is Avisha, and today we have a really very special guest with us. Her name is Sonal Srivastava. So, hi Sonal.
Hi.
So, first of all, I would like you to introduce yourself to our audience.
Yeah. Avisha, I work in markets and markets as a business editor. And for me, writing has always been a form of stress relieving activity. And I eventually realized that I should give more time to it in terms of writing books and everything. And that's what happened when I started writing a lot of poems and I started sharing it with my colleagues and friends. And they really encouraged me to go ahead and publish it. So that's how this journey began for me. And yeah, so far I'm just exploring and I think it's going well. Yeah. So
Okay,
that's about
so
it.
as that you explored all this by just people telling you that you really write well and you are going so good in this field. But when did you actually realize that, yes, this is my passion or something I should work on?
Yes, writing has always been my passion. In fact, I think I started writing since I was in class seventh, and I would often write stories and scripts. So that was very I was mostly exploring this aspect, and that's how I began. Researching more about journalism. I also then, uh, you know, uh, pursued my degree from IIMC, and
Okay.
then eventually my yeah, I was basically exploring my passion, and this is how it happened. I ended up writing a lot of poems, and in fact a lot of them do come from my own life experiences. Obviously, as humans we have a lot of lows and highs in life, and they really they're very thought provoking. So that's how it all influenced me, and I was pretty much encouraged to chase my passion, and here I am writing books. But mostly I find myself inclined towards writing inspirational stories and poems, so that is my part of the um, story. Yes.
Okay, okay. So, as you said that you started writing and there were people who actually encouraged you. So, I would like to ask something from you that we all are at a phase like lockdown and Corona where we all are somewhat frustrated with everything. Then, how do you manage your time to give that time to your profession and to this as well?
Yeah, this is actually very difficult. To be honest, if you must have read my other story published in pandemic chaos, run on to semicolon. I did not believe that I would be able to sustain this pandemic without stepping out, but I mean, I realized that I was exploring more of what I like, especially with writing. That was happening a lot. My parents, they also like writing a lot. My father likes writing some poems sometimes, but he doesn't share it. It's okay. I understand people have their own personal thoughts and everything. But that really encouraged me. This is how I feel that I started exploring my ideas. And at times, I have this habit of waking up at 4 and reading or writing. So that is definitely some discipline I follow. And I always used to sit and write down. So that was my quiet and writing time, and that would never really hinder with my work life. So that worked out well for me, and it really helps because reflecting on your own thoughts and perspectives really helps you understand yourself and maybe help others as well. So this is how I was following it.
Okay, okay, that's really great. And the one question even I want to ask from you, that how long did it actually take to write a book? Okay, we just see it of okay 100 pages, 200 pages. We just can't we just can't assume how much time would have taken. So I would like you to tell us how long did it take you to write a book?
Yeah, it took me a lot of time. Like it is not easy to write a book. Well, for this one, definitely the Yodha part-time, the recent book that I got published. Um, it took me, I think, nearly a year to complete writing this book. There are five stories, but every story had something to tell, and I mean, there's like there's a point of time when you reach a block point, you cannot think how to express. You have the idea, but you cannot think, and there's so many external factors. A lot of things happening in life right now with the COVID scenario. People are not keeping well, and these things really impact while writing. So it did take me a lot of time and thought. If a book is written well thought, then it is worth reading. That's what I believe. And I totally believe that nothing should be written in a haze, because then that expression, wow, I'm so sorry, expression, uh, and the essence of the story will be lost if written in a haze. So yeah, that's why I mean, that's how it took me a lot of time.
Okay,
Does that answer your
so
question?
the
I hope.
the most I guess the most asked questions will be that how do you manage the things, as it is your second book, right? In the whole
Yes,
this pandemic time, then
yes.
how do you those ideas, thoughts to write the book? How you keep yourself motivated and all?
Hmm. Yes. Yeah. In fact, I'd like to say that I find that every person and their life is a story in itself, and this is how it really encourages me when I interact with so many people. They are coming from so many different circumstances, and it really encourages me to tell that story. Probably not entirely. I've been mostly sticking to fiction, but to somewhat an extent where people could take away something, um, some relief from their story, or something like that. So yes, that keeps me inspired. Whether it is working with my colleagues, with my parents, with my sisters, talking to my friends, it really, everything really encourages and motivates me. I really hope that one day if I can write and help someone who is probably looking down at life, that is where my motive lies, and I really hope to help someone like that, because I feel that a little bit of it comes from my own experience, where I was probably having a very low time, and I was reading a lot, and such inspiring books really helped me grow out of things. So it really adds to one's personality as well and thoughts. So that's how I see it entirely.
No, no, no doubt. You are actually right. And one more thing, as you talked about your friends, your people, so I would actually also want to know about your family. What was your family's reaction that, yes, okay, my daughter has written two books. It is a huge, huge thing. Because if I talk about myself, then I am so lazy at writing even a page. Then writing the whole book with so being consistent and being dedicated, it is really very important throughout. So I would like to know about that also, and of course your family's reaction as well.
Yes, yes. In fact, I'd like to tell you two things. I just somehow remembered. One of the most important things that really influences a writer is their emotions. And everyone is at every point of time bound by some emotions. And when I was pursuing my degree from IIMC, I was studying in Dhenkanal, and my dean, Mr. Mrinal Chatterjee, I learned this from him. I mean, he did not say it directly, but every time there was something, some problem, he would always ask the students to write down whatever problems they have. So this is one thing, and I often, like, would see my friends writing down their emotions, and it's coming out in a story. So that is one thing that I learned from that incident. That was one thing. And I did share it with my parents, and how my parents reacted. Yes, they were a little shocked initially because they did not know that I write poems and I'm writing stories. My mother did know a little bit that I used to write stories when I was in seventh standard, and mostly like I was into exploring how much I could make videos, and I was mostly inclined to that side, making videos for my company and a lot of those things, writing scripts. But yeah, when I ended up writing so many poems and published my first book, my family was a little shocked, and but they were very happy. They really liked it. All of them bought it and read it, and they were like counting out their favorite poems out of it. So that was very inspiring for me. So these things
Okay.
really pushed me to write more and more. Yeah.
Actually, I guess family is the only supportive system which has to be with us to grow every time. This
Yes.
is really very even it implies to every person out there who
Mm.
are
Yes.
working on something, even on any field, but they need some
Yes.
sort of support. The very first support is their
Yes. That's
family.
very true.
So, so the next question is, how did publishing your first book change your process of writing? The whole process you write.
Yeah. So actually, whenever I wrote a poem, it was mostly related to some incidents of uh, my life, my experiences, my emotions, and like there was a bit of story that not entirely would be reflected in my poems, and I felt that a lot of these stories they need to be told, and I had it in my mind before that I would write something like this. But I was also very much influenced by Rudyard Kipling. If you read one of his volumes, they are like stories written in poetic verses. And that was one thing I thought I could not do. And I took it as a challenge. Besides just narrating stories of people, even the household workers and everything, every time I would interact with them about certain issues that they are dealing with. When I would be driving out, I would see like a lot of poor people on the road begging, and all of these things really influenced my thoughts with the present scenario. So yes, this is one thing which really pushed me to write this book, The Yodha of Our Time, which talks about the unsung heroes of our society. They're probably like doing a lot actually, and changing perspectives of people, but just because they don't have those resources, they're not highlighted. And that's how I came up with this entire idea. Does that
Okay.
answer your question?
This, this particular time is of those yodhas who are actually saving us from so many bad things as well. As you
Yes.
talked about the people who are begging, or even the people who are doing that cleaning things. So at this time particularly, I feel they are actually Yodhas, because we are at home, we are just saving ourselves, but they are saving so many people out there. Those
Yes,
Corona warriors.
exactly. I mean, definitely, uh, with all respect, doctors and journalists, definitely. But also, like, at small level, if you see the shopkeepers, I mean, I have seen my own cases where in our building or in our society, there are like shopkeepers who are running up and down, and they're like really old couples staying all by themselves, and there's no one to help them. So these shopkeepers are actually coming up and down, and they're really trying to help them, get all the groceries or whatever way they can help with the medicines and everything. So yes, these all instances really inspired me to write this book, and this is
Great.
dedicated to them. Yes.
Oh, okay. So the next question I would like to know from you is how your readers, especially how you get awarded with comments. As we all know, in this era of social media and all, when someone encourages you, or if you just wrote a book and people are just reviewing that, people are telling how was their reaction, how did they react to you. I would like to know it from you. What was your favorite reaction? Somebody told you about that okay, I love this and this was so exciting, and all. People's
Um,
reaction.
yeah, in fact, a lot of people, see, honestly, there are a lot of people, in fact, even my friends, who came up to me telling me how much they loved reading my books, and they have their own favorite poems and stories out of them. So I cannot like pinpoint one person or one incident like that. um but I mean, I really like, it's I take it as a whole lot of motivation for myself. I mean, everyone is really like very special to me in their own way. So nothing like favorite like that there. But I
Okay.
really feel encouraged to know that I could actually make some impact and influence them, and they are happy about it. So yes, that matters.
I actually think there would be so many that you'll be thinking, okay, which one should I tell? I can understand.
Yes, yes.
It is actually a
Yeah.
shame that you not talk about the one person. And if we will be talking about the whole list, then I guess it will be whole day talking about almost the whole reactions. Okay, so
Yes.
step forward towards the next question. And the next question is that there are so many writers. If I would talk about it, then out of 10, there are almost 6 pages of people writing poems or even stories or anything. They are so much interested. Even there was a time when I was so much interested in this. But I would like to know from you, what are the traps in which people actually get? The writers, the budding writers get into those traps and they are not able to focus, or they are not able to work in that.
Yes, there are a lot of there are a lot of factors. Procrastination is one, and I mean, after you're doing a lot of work, sometimes you have crazy deadlines to meet. Like for me, definitely, I can tell you from my experience, because I work as a business editor, and at times I have to like stay up till 12 or like a little bit beyond that, to ensure that a report is sealed before it goes to the client or it goes out for publishing. And then waking up at 4 sometimes is very difficult, and then I skip that much time. I have only limited time, so that is one thing. The other thing is that if you are like I my father, he's not been keeping well, so that those emotions also really, like, sometimes influence your writing, and there's this writer's block. So you cannot really focus as much at that time. So these things
Exactly.
really impact. Yes. So I mean, but the key that I find really works for me is always keep on writing, maintaining that discipline of writing. So that really helps. Whether I can express what I say or not, I ensure that I write every day. So yeah, that
I,
is one
I'm
thing.
I'm really feeling so good talking to you, just because you are actually working in your career as well. You are following your passion as well, and at the same time, your father's not well. And I feel that you are just so powerful human. I can
Oh, thank you so much. That's really sweet.
feel its guts. We can start anything. Okay, I can also start writing a book, but if it I just procrastinate, as you said, that I am the biggest procrastinator. So
It
but
happens.
anything, it's a big deal. You must commence. Even after that, you have to end the thing, and that is the most important thing. And I learned that from you. I think I am learning
Thank
a lot
you.
from you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. That's very sweet.
So as you told us about the stories about the world, so I would like to know from you, how do you define a good story? What does a good story consist?
For me, I'd say what interests me. I would I probably like look at a story that way. I mean, see, the thing is that with a lot of love stories, this is where probably people will disagree or probably not. But I feel that a lot of stories, they're so cliche at a point of time. And for a story to be interesting, it has to be different in a way that not only aligns with reality, but really impacts how people can think. I mean, a story could be told in a dark manner or in a light manner. I mean, where you can like encourage people. So it's really your,
Right.
I mean, there's so many perspectives, there's so many angles to a story that we can give. But I find a story very inspiring or interesting that way when there are angles that haven't been covered before. That's a story for me that will interest me. I mean, some story that has not been told before. And probably this hunt will go on forever. Maybe through my writing, maybe through browsing Netflix and Amazon Prime. I don't know what not. But yes, that story will be different. I hope I come across a story like that, but an inspiring one. I hope so.
So I guess the question I'm gonna ask next one is like incomplete. Philip, incomplete in the sense that if I won't ask this question, then the whole session will be incomplete. Just because, how was your experience with Talent Pen Publishing, of course? As this is your
Yes.
second book with us, then how was your whole experience about your first book and second book, and the whole process? Just tell us about that.
Hmm, hmm. So I really liked working with Caroling Penn, and this is why again for the second book I really reached out to them. It's a very different working experience with them because not just they really modify and customize the package as per your needs, and they really give a good offer. That is one thing for sure. For a budding writer like me, I need to look at it that way. So that is one thing. And besides that, they also like read through my script and tell me what give me right insights how they found it. And luckily, they have they've only had positive insights till now, so that works for me. And most importantly is how I like to publish my book in terms of design, in terms of presentation, in terms of placing the content. how I would like to link it, because I find a book should be a really beautiful experience for a reader, and that is how I plan it out, put the layout to them, and they've like it's been really wonderful working with them. They really help me out with their own ideas and creativity, and it's been amazing. So yes, I really suggest other budding writers to also like opt for and check out their packages for publishing.
Okay, I'm really grateful to hear that. And
Yes,
actually, the very last question I have for
yes.
you is that what would you like to suggest to the budding writers? As you said, you call yourself a budding writer, but I know that this is your second book and you're just working, working, working. So I feel that now you should stop calling yourself a budding writer because you are now really very good author. And to be very frank, as
Okay,
I am talking to you from past 20 minutes, and I can say that I really learned a lot. Then what would you like to suggest
thank
to
you.
people who are
Mhm.
actually going to start writing, or they are thinking of publishing their book or something? So please give some message or something you want to
Uh, yes, I would like to say that if they have begun writing it, they must finish it, because the world is really waiting for so many thoughts and so many stories unheard. They're waiting to read it. So you must go forward and you must not stop writing. So that is one thing I definitely tell them, that they should express whatever it is. They should express and let the world know if they feel that confident. And second thing is, yes, I know that as writers, sometimes it can be difficult sitting down, especially when we have low points that are in our life. It can be difficult sitting down and penning down those thoughts and progressing with a book. But I really would like to suggest this. I learned it from someone, and I'd like to suggest it to them, that make sure you write every day. That discipline really helps. No matter what you write, I mean, writing really helps. So, yes, continue writing till you reach the end and conclude your book. So, that is what I would like to tell them. Yes.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, Sonal, for talking to us. And as I said, that I'm really feeling so good. And even the people who were asking from me as how can we start, because I have talked to so many people through this author's interview session. But I think now I have piled up all the things. I have lessons to tell to them, okay, do this,
Yeah.
that. Just because through these sessions, not just people, I also learn a lot. So thank you so much for joining, and all the
That's
best for
really
your book.
kind.
I'm
Yes.
really
Thank you so much.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.